In the House of Commons today, the opposition parties accused the government not only of sending mixed messages, but also of being insensitive to pregnant women who are trying to decide whether or not to be vaccinated against the H1N1 flu.
Mr. Speaker, MPs' offices across the country are inundated with people who do not know what to do. One woman who's previously worked in a pandemic. This isn't funny!
Carry on.
Order. The Honourable Member for St. Paul's has the floor. She'll want to address her remarks, of course, to the chair, the Honourable Member for St. Paul's.
My colleagues may laugh. This woman has worked in pandemic preparedness her whole life. She is 21 weeks pregnant and is agonizing over her decision whether to take the adjuvant vaccine or wait for the non-adjuvant. She's done her research, she's spoken to 6 obstetricians, and she still does not know what to do. How can it be that this late stage, this government has created such confusion?
I don't know why these people think it's funny or whether it's just defensive or what it is. I don't know what I would do I don't know whether I'd hide under my bed for 3 weeks until I could get the non-adjuvant, only because they said the adjuvanted was safe for everyone. Then they've gone and ordered 2 different quantities of the non-adjuvanted for pregnant women. So their words are reassuring in terms of safety, but their actions are quite different in terms of going and buying this other vaccine that has been clinically tested in pregnant women.
There seems to be still confusion about which is safe, which is better, which should pregnant women get.
The Chief Public Health Officer of Canada, as well as the Chief Medical Officers across the country, have both stated that the adjuvanted and unadjuvanted vaccines are both safe for pregnant women.
Yesterday, the member for St. Paul's rose in this House and asked a serious question about H1N1. She was greeted with jeers and catcalls from the other side. Can the Prime Minister explain how this disgraceful scene occurred, and is he now prepared to apologize?
Of course, I did not see things that way myself, and I was here. Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter, Mr. Speaker, I gather yesterday questions were posed about adjuvanted or unadjuvanted vaccine for pregnant women. As the Minister of Health said clearly, both are considered safe by the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada.
The Honourable Member for St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, H1N1 is not funny. Just ask any pregnant woman confused and worried about her health and her future child. In the United States, there have been 700 cases of H1N1 in pregnant women. Of these, 100 pregnant women were admitted to the ICU, and 28 have died. Why is this government forcing expectant women to make a choice between the risk of getting H1N1 in these next 2 weeks or taking a vaccine for which clinical trials are lacking?
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Public Health Officer and Chief Medical Officers of this country have both stated both adjuvanted and unadjuvanted vaccines are safe for pregnant women. Secondly, Canada's obstetricians and gynecologists also say that they're safe and available to Canadian pregnant women. So, Mr. Speaker, we take the advice very seriously of the Chief Medical Officer, and I think the opposition should as well.
Mr. Speaker, this is about putting patients first, not politics. Canadians are fused because this government failed to communicate with them. Mr. Speaker, the long lines at the immunization clinics are there because people have so many questions. They are taking the time of frontline workers. These are the true heroes of this crisis and those bearing the brunt of this government's abdication of leadership. We need clarity and unambiguous messages. Why has this government only delivered confusion?
Mr. Speaker, it's very clear that there was a delay by the decision of the federal government to order the vaccine. It's very clear that there's been a delay in the distribution of the vaccine. I'd like to ask the Minister, in light of these 2 clear facts that are clearly delineated by the evidence, I'd like to ask the Minister, does she not understand that these delays have cost and will cost lives?
It's tough stuff in question period yesterday from MP Bob Rae. all but accusing the Conservative government with complicity in the H1N1 fatalities. We'll see if he can back that up. A day later, and you've heard commentary on that, do you still stand by that the delays are costing lives?
Well, I don't see how one can. There are delays in two ways. First of all, the timeline and the decision to order the vaccine and the amounts that were ordered when they were ordered, that's had consequences in terms of people not getting the vaccination. The young boy that died, there's no evidence that he had the vaccination or other people have had the vaccination. Plus, we have the delays in the distribution. It takes 10 days for the vaccination to have an effect. So I don't know how you can avoid the conclusion that as a result of that, some people are going to get sick that otherwise wouldn't get sick, wouldn't be getting sick. I mean, everybody said, the medical officer of health has said publicly that it's the best way of stopping getting sick is to get the vaccine. So if you can't get the vaccine, the chances of your getting sick are just a fact of life.
That is the logic, but the question is, could they have moved faster, and therefore is there some kind of complicity? I want you to hear what Dr. David Butler-Jones, he was on our show yesterday, he held a press conference today, Canada's Chief Medical Officer of Health. Here's what Dr. David Butler-Jones said regarding a question about Bob Rae and this allegation that they could have moved faster and saved lives. Take a listen.
The suggestion that somehow we delayed ordering just is not true. It was never true. Secondly, in terms of the process, we have been shipping vaccine as soon as it's been available, as soon as there's been assurance of safety and effectiveness from the company and from the regulator. That has been shipped out to the provinces, and the authorization was done as soon as it was possible, again, based on the confidence in the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine. There have been no delays. At the same time, there have been no steps missed to make that happen.
Dr. Butler-Jones is saying, as fast as we could get them, we have distributed them. And the question is, they can't produce them faster. That's the issue.
Well, frankly, we'll just have to see.
The government blames everybody else. They blame the drug company because there isn't enough supply next week. They blame the provinces and territories. We don't deliver health care, they say. We understand that. But the role of a national government is to provide the planning framework in which everybody does their job. Exactly. And what the national government is there to do is bring people together. And this government has failed to do that consistently since the beginning of the crisis. The question now is, when will the government own up and take responsibility? When will the Prime Minister begin to exercise the leadership that is his responsibility? Public information, clean, clear public information that everybody can understand is the right of every Canadian citizen. We could have avoided the anguish in all the Canadian households had this government done their job. They failed to do so.
I found the comments from the honourable member distasteful, outrageous and irresponsible. This party, the Liberal Party of Canada, has sought from the outside to politicize this, to confuse Canadians, to confound Canadians, to work against the coordination that has existed between this government and the provinces and the people that deliver health care in this country, and they should be ashamed of themselves, and this member in particular.
It should be perfectly clear that we are doing our job.
This week, because of what we call a screw-up, Mr. Speaker, with respect to the production of the vaccine, there are people who are in vulnerable groups, pregnant women, people under the age of 65 who have an underlying condition, like asthma or a heart condition or something else, young people between the ages of 16 and 25. Those people are not getting the vaccine this week. And they're not getting the vaccine this week because there isn't enough vaccine available. Supplies are affected by bottlenecks, and they're affected by changes in demand. The minister, in speaking today, said, the reason we had a delay was because we decided that we needed to get the flu vaccine before we needed to get the H1N1 vaccine, as if there's only one place to get the vaccine. And I look across at my colleagues opposite, who I would have thought ideologically might be a little bit uncomfortable with the notion that a single state-subsidized supplier is going to be the ultimate best solution for national planning. Mr. Speaker, I think it's important that the public be informed, that the public be aware of the choices, the public policy choices that have been made by this government, and that be aware of some of the consequences of those choices.
CTV News has learned that some old-style politics may have been involved in awarding the vaccine contract to a single supplier.
Liberals continue to blast the Harper government. In a letter yesterday, the party president asked, "Shouldn't we have understood that we are putting the health and safety of Canadians at risk by putting all our eggs in one basket? Why? Who made that decision?" He probably should have asked Jean Chrétien. CTV News has obtained the original contract. It was awarded by the Liberal government for 10 years to Shire Biochem. GlaxoSmithKline ultimately came to own the plant near Quebec City. The pandemic swine flu contract was still in force. Back in 2001, before any vaccine was produced, CTV News has learned the contract was worth more than $323 million. Elections Canada also show the original company, Shire Biochem, donated a whopping $56,000 to the Liberal Party of Canada in the same year they won the lucrative pandemic contract.